Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys for Wednesday, February the 26th. Ian Cameron. It's a solo edition of the show today, and I don't know how long we'll be on because the hydro is being shut down any moment in my area for maintenance reasons. So we're going to hustle and hope we get through this show before that occurs. It's supposed to happen sometime between now and 6 p.m. Eastern time. So we're not going to mess around today. We're going to rip through this show quickly. We got a big day tomorrow. I don't want this to be a long show today anyway. So let's get right into it here quickly and look back at yesterday. Great betting night. Can't complain. Things went pretty well for the most part. It started with a Philadelphia Flyers beatdown, a best bet winner courtesy of the Philadelphia Flyers, and a 6-1 whipping over the Pittsburgh Penguins last night. Pittsburgh, look, that game was 2-1 at one point, and then Philly made it 3-1. And Pittsburgh, man, like I said, when it all falls apart for them, it happens like that. They gave up goals in succession Saturday afternoon, if you remember, against Washington, and the game just got away from them in a blink. And you could say the same thing kind of happened last night as well to the Philadelphia Flyers. 3-1 becomes 5-1, just like that. They give up 2 goals in 10 seconds and end up, obviously, the game was over at that point. Philadelphia just cruises to a 6-1 win. Pittsburgh winless following the Four Nations break. Not playing the kind of hockey that they need to be playing if they want to entertain any sort of playoff hopes, but they seem to be falling further out of the playoff race right now as opposed to staying well within it. What else did we see last night? Columbus, 6-4 win over Dallas. That was another good result. Over by Fecta. Columbus team total over. All cashing in with that 6-4 Jackets win. Continue to play very good hockey on home ice. Lighting up the Dallas Stars, who are not an easy team to put 6 on the board against. Columbus was able to do that last night. What a comeback by the Toronto Maple Leafs last night. That was a good result for me as well. As the Boston Bruins up at one point in that game by a score of 3-1. Toronto makes it 3-2, 3-3 with a couple of goals in the third period. Toronto played, that's a sign of how Toronto might be different this year, because that was a game where they played horrific for 2 periods. They were awful in the first 2 periods. They were taking way too many penalties, very sloppy in the defensive zone, a lot of mistakes. And for them to battle back, tie that game, Pasternak makes it 4-3. They get the extra attacker on the ice at the end and tie it at 4, courtesy of Pontus Holmberg. And then Mitch Marner with a great effort to win it in overtime with the breakaway and the deep move to beat Jeremy Swayman. They did that when they had a horrible game. I think it was like a C- or D+ game from Toronto's standpoint compared to the way they've played most of the year. They did it without their best defenseman, Chris Tanev, who got injured early in the game, and we're going to have to see how serious this is, and if this is going to be a long-term absence for him. It would certainly be a big deal if he is out long-term. He is that important, and he's been that great this year on the Leafs blue line. Just a tower of power, a pillar of strength back on that Toronto blue line. They missed him. William Nylander didn't play the latter part of the game due to a wrist injury as well. So you're down a forward, you're down a defenseman, you're down 2 goals on the road. You played terrible for 40 minutes, and to find a way to win that game is remarkable. And it's the kind of tough mentality that the Leafs have been accused of not having over the years. Now, we do have to see this at playoff time. That's the disclaimer here. But nevertheless, this is the kind of shit that the Toronto Maple Leafs weren't capable of doing consistently before this year's team. There's a toughness to them mentally, a toughness to them physically, and they certainly put that on display last night, coming back to beat Boston 5-4 when it wasn't looking good for them for 2 periods, and they lose maybe their most valuable, important, critical defenseman in that game as well. Calgary, what a job by the Calgary Flames, and this is a team that is starting to turn heads more and more. People are starting to become more impressed. How can you not be impressed with going into Washington, beating the number 1 team in the NHL, the Capitals, and holding them to 1 goal? And look, Dan Vladar's got to give credit to him. He's good. They played some solid defense in that game. Now, maybe Washington, after a couple of big blowout wins over the weekend, did they not play their best? I think that's fair. That's a fair argument to make. That was definitely not Washington's A game last night. But you can't take all the credit away from Calgary. What they did last night was absolutely outstanding. A 3-1 win in that game against Washington, making Canuck fans definitely more anxiety, I guess you will, bringing them more anxiety as Calgary now leapfrogs Vancouver for that second wild card spot in the Western Conference. They're playing really solid. This defense, which I'm not a big fan of their depth, but look, they're making the best of it. They're getting goal productions. They've certainly gotten some energy from Matt Coronado, who scored a big goal last night. The Flyer additions, Frost and Farabee, have been good. There's a lot to like with Calgary at the moment, and a big-time win for them last night in Washington, 3-1. It looked like Buffalo was going to do Buffalo things last night, down 2-0 at home to Anaheim, just when you think the Sabres are going on this run, trying to make a miraculous playoff push here. And then they respond and do something that they don't always do, and that's face adversity and come out the other side of it in the win column. And they did that. 3-goal third period, powers Buffalo to a 3-2 comeback win against Anaheim. This game kind of let me down. Unfortunately, we had the over by Fecta here. Neither leg cash there. Montreal does not let me down. We said Carolina on the road's been spotty. We said Freddie Anderson's not a goalie I trust. I don't think he's that great. He's had injuries. He hasn't played in a long time. A very vulnerable road favorite in that price range, minus 210. Carolina, and boy, oh boy, nailed it, right as rain. Montreal, a 4-0 shutout over the Carolina Hurricanes. Samuel Montembeault getting the shutout. Montreal now with back-to-back wins coming out of the break. The break was the perfect tonic for them. They were struggling going into the break. They've hit the reset button, and what a job by the Montreal Canadiens to win 2 in a row, including a 4-0 shutout over Carolina last night. Carolina, they've got questions they've got to answer. What's wrong with them? Coming out of the break, they have stopped scoring goals. They have not looked great. Same thing with Edmonton, their third straight loss coming out of the break last night, 4-1 to Tampa Bay. The offense really didn't do a lot. I thought Tampa defended well, but there was just not a lot of passion and emotion in the Oilers game last night, and that was a little bit perplexing for a team that got steamrolled by both Philadelphia and Washington over the weekend. For the Oilers not to play better than that, disappointing. They continue to have some issues defensively, yes. And Tampa Bay is the benefactor of that 4-1 win over Edmonton. Third straight loss coming out of the break. And Edmonton's got to face the defending Stanley Cup champions next on Thursday, tomorrow night, taking on the Florida Panthers. One of the spotlight games taking place tomorrow on our betcast, I shall remind you. Tomorrow night, our live betcast, which is public and free for all tomorrow night. And definitely Edmonton, Florida will be one of the highlight games, certainly, of that betcast tomorrow night. So it won't get any easier for the Edmonton Oilers in their attempt to get off the schneid here. The New York Rangers, 5-1 win over the New York Islanders last night. By the way, the first period over cashed in that Edmonton-Tampa Bay game to now make it 15-1 for the Edmonton Oilers to the first period over in their last 16 games. So the first period over just continues to be an absolutely dynamite bet right now in Edmonton Oilers games, and that's a trend worth riding. That's the new Chicago. And we'll get to Chicago because I think we're going to get off that little first period over express after last night. But a nice win there for Tampa. What else did we see last night? We obviously saw the Florida Panthers take care of business against the Nashville Predators. Nice win there for Florida, bouncing back after the setback to Seattle over the weekend, coming out of the break, 4-1 win there. I mentioned the Rangers take care of the Islanders, 5-1. St. Louis, just a thrashing of Seattle, 7-2 in favor of the St. Louis Blues last night. A beatdown over the Kraken. We'll see if they can keep that rolling. But Jordan Binnington, again, a solid performance. He carried a shutout into the third period before Seattle got their 2 goals. Jordan Binnington Stanley Cup version, Jordan Binnington Four Nations version has carried over to the 2 games that the Blues have played since the break. And that's good news for the St. Louis Blues and their fans, certainly if they are going to make the playoffs. Detroit 3-2 win against Minnesota. We had the Red Wings in that game. We had the first period over. Full game over does fall short, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And the Red Wings, we talked about it. I like them in this spot. I like them at that price as an underdog in revenge, losing the way they did against Minnesota at home. And they come back from a 2-0 deficit to beat the Minnesota Wild 3-2. And then Utah with the 2-1 win against Chicago last night. Wash, rinse, repeat for the Blackhawks. Score an early first period goal, have a good opening period, take the lead, and then they end up losing the game, and they get progressively worse as the game goes on. That's basically been what we've seen from Chicago more often than not. I know Seth Jones opened up about how bad the season's been. We haven't gotten a lick better. Look, Seth Jones, I know he's upset. It's nice that he's stepping up and saying this when he's likely going to get traded out of there. Yeah, what if you're going to have to deal with this shit for 82 games? You're probably going to get dealt, and now's the time you're just going to step up and all of a sudden say that and we haven't gotten any better. And by the way, he's a big part of the problem. His defensive play at times has been absolutely atrocious, absolutely abysmal. So for him to be the guy to step up and say, we haven't been any good, he's got to look himself in the mirror. He hasn't been any good for a large part of the season in his own zone defensively. So it's nice to throw stones, but like I said, you're probably getting dealt very soon before the deadline. And the other thing is you haven't played very good either. So make sure you include yourself into that equation if you're going to rip the team like that. So that was last night. It was a very good night overall. Definitely more W's than not on the card. We'll see if we can make something of this card. 3 games on tap for this Wednesday. Let's get into it. We will begin with the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Ottawa Senators. We've got Winnipeg minus 145, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. The Ottawa Senators lost their first game following the Four Nations break to the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night. And the big concern with Ottawa there was the injuries and who was out of the lineup. And there was no Shane Pinto. There was no Josh Norris. The captain, Brady Tkachuk, was also out of that game due to injury. And look, it was that plus the layoff, I think, helped Montreal. Like we talked about, they needed to hit the reset button. They needed to break Montreal in the worst way. They were struggling, and they came together and they played a really good game coming out of the break. And they took advantage of the spot to hit the reset button, and they took advantage of an Ottawa team that's depleted right now. And where they're depleted the most is certainly down the middle at the center ice position. It's Josh Norris and Shane Pinto, 2 of your top centers. Zach McEwen and Nick Cousins are 2 other centers that are missing due to injury right now for the Ottawa Senators. And they thought they were going to get 1, 2, or maybe even all 3 of Josh Norris, Shane Pinto, and Brady Tkachuk back tonight. They're not getting any of them back. They're all out once again here tonight for the Ottawa Senators in this game. And I was kind of interested in taking Ottawa had they gotten some of these guys back. But no Brady Tkachuk, no Pinto, no Norris, no Ottawa for this better. Winnipeg, meanwhile, I don't think they're going to be thrilled about the way they've played coming out of the break. Yeah, they beat St. Louis, but they needed to come back and tie the game late and then win in a shootout. Yeah, they beat San Jose in overtime 2-1 Monday night, but they were really lethargic most of that game. Their offensive execution was not crisp. The power play didn't look right, looked disjointed for a team that's got the best power play statistically in the NHL. They won that game. I don't think they're going to be thrilled with the process that it took for them to win that game last night or Monday night, rather, against San Jose. So I think Winnipeg does come in here, wants to put a better effort forward. 10 straight wins now for this team, setting a franchise record for consecutive wins in the regular season with that San Jose overtime win on Monday night. Going on the road here against Ottawa. They have won 3 straight times here in Ottawa, the Jets over the Senators. I mean, 10-game win streak, I don't want to step in front of it, especially when the team's only laying minus 145 like Winnipeg is. I am going to sprinkle on the draw, though, in this game. We've seen back-to-back Jets games go past regulation here coming out of the break. I know Ottawa's lost 4 in a row. And they have really struggled defensively in that stretch. 19 goals allowed in the last 4 games during this losing streak. And Ottawa was one of the biggest under teams in the NHL for the majority of December going into January. Well, don't look now. Ottawa, 7 straight games have gone over the total for this Ottawa Senators team entering tonight. So keep that in mind. I am concerned about the fact that Connor Hellebuck may not play tonight. He has not been confirmed yet, and when it's taken this long for him to be confirmed as the starting goaltender, which he has not been yet, it kind of makes me think Scott Arniel might end up going with Eric Comrie tonight. And I'm not saying he will, but when it's this long and we have not gotten an automatic Hellebuck confirmation by now, it makes me think we're going to get Comrie tonight, and maybe they're going to save Hellebuck for Nashville here tomorrow night. So that's if it's Comrie, I'm on the over here. I actually lean to the over here. You're going to give me a 5.5 at plus money. Ottawa's gone 7 straight overs. And don't look now, Linus Ullmark, who we like. We do like Linus Ullmark. Linus Ullmark did not play well going into the Four Nations break. Not at all. Now, in the Four Nations, he did play solidly. He didn't get in there consistently, but he got in there a little bit. But in the NHL, before that Four Nations tournament, this is a guy that had given up 12 goals in his last 3 starts combined. 12 goals combined in his last 3 starts. Not good. I've got my eye on the over. I might go ahead and bet over 5.5 at plus money anyway, even if Hellebuck is in net for the Jets, but I'm certainly leaning in that direction. I also think Winnipeg wants to clean up the offensive execution. They know they didn't execute offensively. And yeah, Vanacek played well, but you could see the power play was disjointed, was off kilter. They really weren't in a situation where they were really sharp at that end of the ice. I think they're going to want to fix that here. And Ottawa is just inviting teams to score against them right now with the way they've struggled defensively. So I'm probably going to bet over 5.5 either way, but I'm going to like it even more if Comrie's in net. And like I said, I'm going to take a shot here with the draw over plus 300 here in this game. As far as props go for this Winnipeg-Ottawa game, there's a few that stand out. We've talked about how good the Velarde line was very quiet Monday night, but so was everyone. Perfetti and Nemesnikov have had a nice chemistry going for Winnipeg, so maybe look in that direction. On the Ottawa side of the equation, the one good thing about all the injuries is that it opens up prop value for the guys filling those spots of your Brady Kachucks of the world and your Shane Pintos of the world and your Josh Norrises of the world. You've got a guy like Ridley Gregg who's going to center the top line. You got a guy like Noah Gregor who's going to be up on the second line with Gregg and Batherson tonight. Those two guys have some great value. Perron is going to play on the top line with Timmy Stützle and Claude Giroux. There's some value as well up there with Perron. So keep that in mind. And you have to at this point, because of who's out of the lineup, you're missing your captain who can score. You're missing 2 great offensive players like Norris and Pinto. You've got to look to see if the blue line can help fill the void offensively. And Jake Sanderson has been doing that for the Ottawa Senators. You go back to before the Four Nations break, Jake Sanderson scored 3 goals in 3 straight games against Washington, Minnesota, and Nashville. He has scored 4 goals total in the last 7 games. He has been a point machine during that time. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 points in the last 6 games for Jake Sanderson, rather, going into this game. So Gregg, Perron, and absolutely Jake Sanderson's worth a bet for goal. Not just point. Now, you can go with Jake Sanderson point props. You got to hit the goal prop right now because he's shooting the puck a lot, too. He has 10 shots on goal in the last 2 games combined since these injuries mounted with Pinto and with Norris out in particular. 4 shots on goal in the return against to action against Montreal following the break. So he's shooting the puck a ton. He's trying to fill, they lose a lot of offense with no Brady Tkachuk and Shane Pinto and Josh Norris. Jake Sanderson knows that. That's why he's such a great defenseman. He's going to take it on. Put it on himself to say, you know what, let's shoot the puck more. Let's try to get some more offense going from the blue line because we need it right now with all. That's all right. We're back. So again, going back to the Jake Sanderson point, he is look at the shots on goal numbers just increase and just go absolutely bonkers as far as way more shots on goal, way more shot attempts. He knows that he's got to step up and shoot the puck more because of all the offense they're missing right now. So yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer to look Jake Sanderson props, including the goal prop, with what we've seen from him of late, no question about that. All right, we move along here to this next game here, New Jersey and Colorado. We've got Colorado minus 145, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Mackenzie Blackwood confirmed in net already for the Avs, who have struggled coming out of the break. And, this becomes a bit of a tricky handicap because I think I like how this spot sets up here for the Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, they're not going to be thrilled. 1 goal against Nashville in a loss on Saturday, 1 goal in a loss against St. Louis on Sunday. They've lost 2 straight coming out of the break, looking to bounce back here tonight at home against New Jersey. But, they've now had a couple of days off, stewing over these 2 losses. You got to think they're probably going to get a good effort at home to bounce back, snap the skid here for Colorado, and a big return to the lineup tonight for Colorado. Big Val Nichushkin. We have not seen him play in over 20 games for the Colorado Avalanche, this absence, but he is back tonight for the Colorado Avalanche here in this game. We'll see how it plays out, but, I like the spot here for Colorado. Going up against a New Jersey team that is off a 5-0 shutout win against the Nashville Predators. One thing I want to point out here, New Jersey off a shutout win, whether they get oversatisfied, overconfident, cocky, they think the world's their oyster. I don't know how you can explain it, but the last 2 times we've seen the Devils shutting out the opponent. They shut out Philly 5-0 January 29th. They lost 4-3 at Buffalo the very next game. They shut out Montreal 4-0 on February 8th. Actually, there was the last game before the break, so there was the big break in between. But still, they lost the next game against Dallas 4-2. So last 2 times they've had a shutout win. They haven't won the next game. So they haven't been obviously feeling, not feeling themselves a little bit off these shutout wins. Jake Allen is projected in net for New Jersey. I have not seen that confirmed yet, but I'm going to wait to really cement that until I hear for sure that he's in. I'm a little bit surprised that Sheldon Keefe may not consider going with Nico Daws again, considering he did register a shutout for you on Sunday against Nashville. I'm a little bit surprised that we're still looking at possibly Jake Allen being the guy tonight. I thought maybe Sheldon would reward the young kid, Nico Daws, for a nice shutout performance there against Nashville on Sunday. But as of now, the projections are that it's going to be Jake Allen in net here for New Jersey. I like Colorado in this spot. I do. New Jersey has shown me too many issues lately off a win. It's like they get a win and they feel like, hey, our work's done, and they kind of slough off the next game. They're now 0-4 in their last 4 games after a victory coming into tonight. So I think Colorado's in a good spot here. I'm going to split money line with team total on the Avs. This offense, especially with Nichushkin coming back into the lineup, I think at home this could be the spot where they get it rolling a little bit. That would not shock me. Plus, you have to factor in with Blackwood in net. He is going up against the team that he originally played for. There's always going to be that incentive and that motivation to really beat and stick it to your old team. It always is that way. So I think Colorado doesn't let this losing streak linger much longer. They've still got a very good home record overall. And this is a Colorado team that had been playing pretty good home ice hockey entering the Four Nations break. Hell, their last 2 games at home before the break were 2-0 shutout and 5-0 shutout against the Flyers and the Blues. So like I said, and Nichushkin just makes them a whole lot better. So I'm going to go Colorado money line minus 140. I got a little bit of a better price than that early in the day, but minus 140 is still playable. Team total for the Avs, split it with that, which is a very nice price, actually. Plus 132 at Pinnacle is the best price right now with this Avalanche team total over. I think that's worth a shot as well. Allen, to me, in this venue against this team with the ability to bounce back offensively on home ice, I don't trust Jake Allen. Let's put it that way, if it is indeed going to be him in net. So Colorado Avalanche split with team total over 3.5. And I'm going to go with the over by Fecta here. I am. Over 1.5 first period. This is the spot where I could see Colorado just putting on one of their classic 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-0, some kind of first period like that. Coming off a couple of road losses, knowing that they got to get their offense rolling again, and home ice is probably a good chance they do that. So like I said, I'm on the over by Fecta in this game as well. So 4 bets. Avalanche money line split with Avalanche team total, over 1.5 first period. over 5.5 full game here for the Devils and the Avs. And then as far as, and by the way, as far as overs are concerned in Colorado, 7-5, 6-3 the last 2 times they played here at Ball Arena in Denver. So huge high scoring affairs. 7-5, 6-3 final scores. The last 2 times it's been Devils versus Avs here in Denver. And then as far as props go for this game, you look at the lineup situation here for Colorado. Getting Big Val back is a big help. There's no question about that. And like I said, I don't know if he'll score right away, but just he'll open things up for his line mates, in this case, Middlestat and Drouin. Lehkonen, McKinnon, and Natchez remain together as the top line for this Colorado team. Don't be scared to bet some of these defensemen, too. Devon Taves, got on the board and is shooting the puck a lot. Cale Makar, obviously someone that could step in and score. And remember how red hot Cale Makar was right before the Four Nations break. So definitely some looks there. As far as New Jersey is concerned, you look at Bratt, Palat, Hughes. Hughes had all kinds of chances in New Jersey's last game, really generated a lot. Didn't finish a ton, but certainly generated a lot there on that line. Nason back with Tatar and Hischier on the second line. And yes, and I would not be scared to look at Dougie Hamilton, Luke Hughes. Seamus Casey is back in this blue line. And Seamus Casey has had a knack for chipping in as well, even though he's not been a full-time member of this team. Dougie Hamilton, by the way, 3 games in a row with at least a point. He scored a goal, got an assist against Nashville. That was a very nice goal he scored, by the way, against the Nashville Predators in that 5-0 shutout win. So Dougie Hamilton props make sense to me. Luke Hughes has got that puck-moving ability. And like I said, this Seamus Casey kid, it's insane. 3 shots on goal against Nashville. He scores. He's got 4 goals and 1 assist. And this guy's only played 9 games this season for the New Jersey Devils. Don't be scared to maybe look at Seamus Casey here for the New Jersey Devils, because 4 goals in 9 games and the price you're getting for him to score a goal tonight, it's worth it. Just even if you put just a couple of bucks down on it. Seamus Casey at plus 1,700 at FanDuel to score goals. 17-1. Why not? 4 goals in 9 games here for this New Jersey Devils team from the blue line. JD in the chat saying Lehkonen 4 goals in 7 games versus Jake Allen. So, and by the way, Lehkonen and Allen were teammates in Montreal for a bit when they were both with the Canadiens at one point. So probably knows a little bit of what to expect goaltending-wise and style-wise from a guy like Jake Allen, which probably helps him out a little bit. So pretty good game there. Looking forward to it. Probably is the game of the night. Winnipeg, Ottawa could make a case to be the game of the night if Ottawa was a little bit healthier. But I would probably say this is the game of the night because of Ottawa's injuries. All right, Vancouver, LA, final game. We'll see if we can get this in and with the lights still on. LA minus 180, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Well, at this point, especially with the way Vancouver's looked, in the 2 games following the break, no offense to speak of, 9 goals in the last 4 games combined, 1 goal in losses to Vegas and Utah on the road over the weekend. 6 straight unders for the Vancouver Canucks as well. Entering this game tonight against LA. With all of those offensive struggles, there's not a chance I'm backing Vancouver here. I know they're going to get Quinn Hughes back tonight. That's important, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes when you get the big, I've said this a million times. Whether it's NHL, NBA, certainly if you watch the NBA show, I mention it on there. It's not a given when you get one of your best players back, like a Quinn Hughes. It's going to result in a win in the very first game. Sometimes it takes a game or 2 for the cohesion to come back. It takes a game or 2 for the rust to, shake off of that player. And that's why, I know he's back and it's huge for the Vancouver Canucks team. They need him in the worst way, because he drives so much of the offense from the back end for the Vancouver Canucks. And obviously this oblique injury has been one where, man, they've really, it's hurt them significantly not having him in the lineup. Sometimes it does take, a couple of games for that to fester as far as the impact he will make. Yes, it's a great point that the lines are in a blender. DeBrusk is playing with Elias Pettersson, who's can't find him with a telescope on the ice this season. Nils Höglander, great value with both of those guys, assuming you get something from them. Dakota Joshua moved up with Philip Hedl and Connor I could see that line being a bit dangerous. Heedle's actually played pretty solid for Vancouver. I like his effort that he's given. We know Garland always plays hard. Dakota Joshua is that big body that you can put in front of the net to try to open things up. So that might be a line that's able to do some damage. Drew O'Connor, Pius Suter, Brock Besser, your new look third line. I see what Tocchet's trying to do. He's trying to, lengthen and deepen the offense throughout his lineup right now with some of these changes. And certainly Quinn Hughes back helps, but it's very difficult to step in front of the Los Angeles Kings at home. I mean, this home record has been phenomenal. They didn't even play that great against Vegas. It took them until the third period to really kick their game into overdrive. But when they did, man, it was very impressive. They rolled past Vegas with a huge third period and a 5-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights the other night. It's LA or pass for me, even with Vancouver getting Quinn Hughes back. What I did do is I took a Colorado. I've got Colorado on its own, money line and team total over split. I also did a small, and I'm not a big parlay man, but a small two-teamer with Colorado and LA money line here in the late night hours. Obviously, I'm not interested in minus 180 with the LA Kings, but putting them in a two-team money line parlay with Colorado, I do both. I do think both of those teams win tonight, so I don't mind that. And you get a little plus money on that. That's certainly an approach to go with here. I don't like the Kings team total tonight over. Usually sometimes I talk about how bigger favorites, I split it with the team total over. I don't want to do that. I could see this being like 2-1 or 3-1 LA potentially here tonight in this game where they don't get the 4 goals that you need to go over that team total. So definitely I think Vancouver or LA, if you're going to bet LA on its own, and not put them money line into a parlay of any kind, you'd have to take a -1 on the puck line or -1.5 and or in regulation. You can get LA in regulation -105, so it's not a bad price there. But like I said, this LA home record's just been too strong. Don't want to step in front of them. Now, I will say this, though. The one thing for Vancouver to watch out for is they might be facing our guy, and you never know what you're going to get from him, and they are going to face him, David Riddick in net for the LA Kings. And this guy's an enigma here. He's going to be the starter tonight. 2.59 goals against, .890 save percentage this year, only a 12-11-1 record. He was very good in his last start against Anaheim, but did lose to Dallas, obviously, in that one. Did they beat Dallas in that game? I'm trying to remember now. No, I think they beat Dallas, actually, in that game. He didn't play great, though, in that game against the Dallas Stars. He did play well against Tampa, so he's had a couple of good starts here of late, but he also had a five-goal clunker, and I remember that, where they came back home to the Crypto Barn there for the first time since the terrible wildfires occurred in California there in the LA region, and he was not good in that game. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Like I said, though, I'm not stepping in front of LA at home. I do have them in a small parlay with the Avs and the Kings, two-teamer as well. That's about it for me, though, as far as this game goes. As far as at least side or total, Kevin Lankinen, by the way, in net here for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Prop-wise, like I said, all those players I mentioned for Vancouver with the line changes that Tocchet's making, DeBrusk and Oglander, value. Joshua, Heedle, Garland, value. Definitely with the way it sets up for them. Quinn Hughes is going to knows that he's coming back to a team that has scored 9 goals in the last 5 games. So the thought that he's going to shoot the puck a lot, that Jonathan has, like in the shots on goal for Quinn Hughes tonight, I totally could see that. He's probably going to rip that puck, do anything he can to try to get this Vancouver team going a little bit offensively. And for LA, I would say now they were a little quieter the last game against Vegas, even though they scored 5 goals. Moore did some of the damage. Fogle, both of those guys worth a look. But Fiala, Byfield, and LaFerriere. Byfield with 4 points, all of them assists against Vegas on Monday night. So maybe Byfield assist. You can go in that direction. I'm still liking what I'm seeing from that line, and they're still always live, in my opinion, for point or assist or goal props. That's LaFerriere with Byfield and Fiala, who again scored, although it was into the empty net late in that game against Vegas. He's been playing great, obviously, of late. So for a game that may not have a boatload of scoring, there's still some good player prop options available on the board for this game. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate you tuning in very much. And like I said, 3 games. They're all interesting games, all of them in some form. So even though it's a small card, it's an interesting card, and hopefully we see some good action and we make some money in the process as well. But this is just a prelude, guys, as you know, to tomorrow. It is a massive 12-game NHL card, and we will be with you at 2 p.m. Eastern, as always, to preview the 12-game Thursday slate, and then we will be back with you at night for our first live betcast post-Four Nations break. Free-for-all betcast. Anybody's invited to join us Thursday, February 27th. Looking forward to it. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's a great NHL slate. The Stanley Cup final rematch with Edmonton at Florida is certainly the highlight of that card tomorrow night. So we're very much looking forward to that. Live betcast, DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast, and we will send you the link for it before it begins so that you can join us tomorrow night on the Ice Guys live betcast. And then we have 2 more live betcasts coming up in March, and both of them are exclusive to our Patreon members, Thursday, March the 6th and Tuesday, March the 25th. Make sure you join us for those 2 live betcasts once again in the month of March for our Patreon members, which means you must be a Patreon member to join us and watch those 2 betcasts in March. So make sure you sign up if you haven't already. Just $10 per month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. You get goalie charts. You get totals charts. You get our sides, totals, and player props posted each and every single day on the Patreon page throughout the NHL season. And now we have started, and we're going to have more exclusive live betcasts, 2 in March, many more in April and beyond, where you must be a Patreon member to tune in and join us for those. And we've started our group chat on Patreon with our members, our live wager chat room on the Patreon page as well. I've been posting some live bets the last couple nights. If you're not a Patreon member, you missed out on a huge live bet winner from yours truly last night. And that's the value of being a Patreon member. It's only $10 per month. If you are a Patreon member, you saw that I was in there last night posting a live bet. We had Toronto plus 280. We had Toronto-Boston draw plus 260. We had both of those bets live in the third period when the Leafs were trailing 3-2 at the time, and we cashed both of them. That's the kind of stuff we're delivering for our Patreon members. Live wagers from me, live wagers from Alex on the Patreon page. Day in, day out, every night we've got one. Anytime I place a live bet the rest of the season in the NHL, it's going on the Patreon page in our live wagering chat room, and you will see it right there. And we made big, look at that, plus 280 and plus 260 in that game. You do the math, that's plus 5.4 units in one game with those 2 bets. Now, we did have Calgary we did have Calgary plus on the money line to try to come back and beat Washington in the draw in that game. We lost both of those, but we overall made a profit with those 4 bets in those games because of the 2 with Toronto and Boston cashing, the draw and the Leafs and the comeback. So that's the kind of stuff to expect if you sign up at patreon.com/Ice Guys. Live wagering on a nightly basis, not just the betcasts, but we will post live bets on all the non-betcast nights moving forward for our Patreon members. So that's another big-time perk and incentive to get subscribed, get signed up on the Patreon page for the rest of the regular season, the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Make sure you're there. $10 per month. Your subscription goes a long way to joining us or to supporting the show and keeping us going in the long term. $10 per month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Sign up today. And, of course, check out the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Lots of new merch. We've got the new gift merch as well that I know you'll enjoy for goal in the first 10 minutes. So check it all out, iceguys.myspreadshop.com at the Ice Guys store. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bet coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, And a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code ICEGUYS at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. 3 games on the docket, so not a ton of games to choose from, but as we talked about, there are some solid options and including some solid value options as far as bargain bin special for this card tonight. And I'm going to go for a real bargain one. As far as value on the board tonight. We are going to go to the Winnipeg-Ottawa game, and with no Norris, no Tkachuk, no Pinto, this is a guy that on the blue line has taken it into his own hands to make it happen offensively. And I'm talking about Jake Sanderson. He had a great 4 Nations when he played for the U.S., when he got into the lineup. He scored a goal in the Canada game, obviously. Which was great to see. I think it was the Canada game on Thursday. He scored against Montreal on Saturday night. He's been obviously jumping into the play, shooting the puck more, tons of ice time, obviously, power play time, you name it. Jake Sanderson is upwards of plus 900 at BetMGM to score a goal tonight. That is definitely bargain bin worthy, in my opinion. So let's go with Jake Sanderson, Ottawa Senators, plus 900. What a price and what a hit if it comes through for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bet. We don't get Colorado 5.5s very often. Let's take advantage of this. They're not going to score 1 goal in every game indefinitely. The floodgates are going to open at some point. Jake Allen is not exactly a trustworthy goalie one game to the next. I think tonight's the night Colorado could open it up. I think New Jersey can chip in as well offensively. And like I said, we've got just 5.5 at minus 115. You don't get that very often for Colorado games on home ice. That's value, in my opinion. New Jersey, Colorado, over 5.5, minus 115. That is going to be my bet. Sorry about that. That is New Jersey, Colorado, over 5.5, minus 115. That is going to be my best bet here for this Wednesday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, tomorrow is a huge day here on the Ice Guys. We've got our 2 p.m. Eastern show on Thursday to break down the massive Thursday slate from a betting perspective. And then it's our live betcast tomorrow night, Thursday, February 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to getting back into the betcast swing of things. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Ice Guys. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Thursday. Live show 2 p.m. Eastern. Live betcast 7 p.m. Eastern. Coming up on Thursday right here on the Ice Guys.